and welcome to another one of Sybil's Teacher Tip videos. Today we will focus on our 8th grade Life Science Student Activity Pack. The first activity is called Food Chains and Food Webs. Students will need their student activity guide and their food chain cards. Students will cut out all of their food chain cards, there should be 12 in total, and then place them into two different groups, producers or consumers. We have put the definitions of both producers and consumers on the student activity guide to help the students do this. When they are done, they should write down what characteristics place the organism into that group, and if there was a card that did not fit into any of the groups, and why that card doesn't fit. Part 2 of the activity is food chains. Students should use their food chain cards to create a food chain that has at least 4 organisms. Once their food chain is complete, they should write the name of the organisms or draw pictures of them here. They need to answer the question asking them, what do the black arrows represent as it goes from the sun into each individual organism? At the bottom, there is a small reading that talks about primary, secondary, and tertiary consumers. Students should then go back and label the organisms correctly. Part 3 of the activity is called Food Webs. We have provided a simple food web on the back for reference. Students should use all 12 of their food chain cards to create a food web. Pay careful attention to the way the arrows go. When the food web is complete, ask the students to remove one organism from their food web. They should then think about what would happen to the ecosystem as a whole when they removed that organism. Our second activity is called Ecosystems. For this activity, students will need their 3 cups and 3 soil tablets, a medicine cup, radish seeds, and their spoon. The very first thing they need to do is prep their ecosystems. They should take the soil mesh tablets, remove the mesh, and place them individually into a cup. They should add 30 ml of water using the medicine cup. Let it sit for about 10 minutes, mix it around, add another 10 ml of water, and in the end, they will have 2 cups that look like this. Part 1 of this activity is called Limiting Factors. In 1 cup, students should place 4 to 5 radish seeds, and in the other, they should place between 40 and 50. It's okay if they don't count out exactly 40 or 50. We want it to be a significant amount more in 1 cup than the other. They will then monitor the 2 ecosystems for 14 days, making observations for each of those days. At the bottom, there is a small reading about limiting factors. Students should think about what limiting factors are occurring in the ecosystem and which limiting factor they believe will influence the ecosystem the most. Part 2 of this activity is called Abiotic and Biotic Factors. Students should look at their ecosystem that has the 4 to 5 radish seeds growing in it at about day 5 or 7. At this point, they should label all of the living and non-living things that are currently occurring in the ecosystem. There's a short reading about biotic and abiotic factors. Students should return to their original list of living and non-living factors and label them appropriately. We then ask the students to think about what happens if we were to take our cup ecosystem and place it outside. What are the abiotic and biotic factors now? What are new? What are the same? And what if we actually took our ecosystem and placed it physically into the ground? Once again, how would those abiotic and biotic factors change or remain the same? Part 3 of this activity is called Ecosystem Investigation. Students should use their remaining cup and soil tablet and prepare it just as we did for Part 1. This time, students get to decide what limiting factor they are going to change. They should predict what they believe will happen in that ecosystem. Create that ecosystem, monitor it for 14 days, and then compare it to their original prediction. Our third activity is called Destroying Viruses. For this activity, students will need their aluminum foil, double-sided tape, radish seeds. If you haven't done ecosystems yet, make sure your students save some radish seeds to the side to do that. They will need some type of butter or butter substitute at room temperature. They will need their paper plate, and they'll need 2 small squat cups. My squat cups are already full. They can also reuse the spoon from the ecosystems activity, so make sure they keep that as well. To prepare for this activity, students need to rip or cut their aluminum foil into 6 different pieces. We will be using 2 pieces for each activity. They should cut their double-sided tape into 6 different pieces. We will be using 2 pieces for each activity. The butter should be softened or at room temperature, and then they should place their radish seeds onto their plate. For part 1, we are going to look at different structures of viruses. Take 1 piece of aluminum foil, put it into a ball. Take a second piece of aluminum foil and make that into a ball. We are creating 2 different viruses. Students will then take a piece of double-sided tape and place it around one of the aluminum foil balls. It's okay if the tape doesn't go all the way around the aluminum foil ball. And then they will roll it in their seeds. We're going to set this to the side and call it virus A. Our second virus, we're going to wrap a piece of double-sided tape around it. Once again, it's okay if it doesn't completely cover the aluminum ball. This time we're going to add a butter or a lipid layer. Now, this part can get a little messy, so I did bring some paper towels along. Use your fingers or the spoon to coat the virus. It's science, it's supposed to be messy. And then roll it in the seeds. This is considered virus B. I'm gonna leave it there on the paper plate. Like I said, it gets a little messy, so it's okay to have a paper towel nearby. Now we're ready for our experiment. We are going to see how the 2 viruses react when we wash them in soapy water. So we're going to take virus A, place it into our cup, and stir it around. As we stir, we will sing happy birthday, as that's about 20 seconds, and that's what the CDC recommends when washing your hands. After the time has come, we'll remove the virus, and we'll check to see what's in the cup. Students should count how many seeds there are in there. Right now, there are about 10 seeds. We will then take our second virus, or virus B, the one with the butter on it, place it in, and stir it around. Once again, we are going to sing happy birthday for the 20 seconds. Stir it around and remove it. And count our seeds. So in here, there's about 40 to 50 seeds in there. It's important for students to notice that there is a significant difference between virus A and virus B with the amount of seeds that fell off. At the bottom of the activity, there is a small reading about how viruses have these special keys, which the seeds represent, that lock in with cells, and when those keys are removed, the virus is destroyed. Based on that information, which virus was most likely destroyed? It also talks about the 2 different types of viruses. The one is called enveloped. That's the one that has the butter, and it gives some examples, such as our COVID-19. Our non-enveloped viruses are the ones without the butter, which is a common cold falls under that. It gives the students a chance to understand the difference between the 2 viruses, and it also tells them that we are just going to be focusing on the enveloped or the butter viruses for our next 2 parts. Part 2 of the activity, we are going to focus on the amount of time it takes to wash your hands. Does that matter? Students should take 2 pieces of aluminum foil and 2 pieces of double stick tape and make their 2 virus B or the butter viruses, and then we are going to do a timed test. In one of the cups, they will place a virus and simply stir it for the words happy birthday and remove. They should count the amount of seeds that are left behind in the cup. For the second one, they will place the second virus in and stir it around for that full 20 seconds recommended by the CDC, singing the full happy birthday song, count the amount of seeds, and then compare. Does the amount of time spent washing your hands matter when trying to destroy a virus? For part 3 of the activity, students will look at if soap matters when washing their hands. They will use their final 2 pieces of aluminum foil, their final 2 pieces of double-sided tape, and create 2 virus B structures. One of the cups has just water, while the other has soapy water. Students will place one of the viruses in just water, stir it around for the full happy birthday, count the seeds. Then they will place the second virus in the soapy water, stir it around for 20 seconds, and count the seeds. And determine, does soap actually matter? And that is our 8th grade life science student activity pack.